two big updates about COVID-19 vaccines today. Let's start with the good news. Pfizer says their dose is effective for at least 6 months. Of course, it might be effective even longer, but we won't know until enough time has passed. Now, the bad news. Johnson & Johnson says there has been a factory mix-up, leaving around 15 million doses of their vaccine unusable. Oh, I hate hearing that, Dr. Kohli. Here to help us make sense is our health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. So, Doc, two big headlines. What are your reactions to each?
So with the Pfizer headline, I was really excited actually because 6 months is a really nice long runway for us to develop a booster shot if we need to. It's also a chance for us to try to get those infections down. So having robust protection for 6 months, that's big news. The other news that came out of Pfizer today was that this protection actually does also work against the variant that comes out of South Africa. So all really, really exciting news there. With respect to Johnson & Johnson, it certainly was a mix-up. I think a huge embarrassment for the company. Reflects, you know, the fallacy of human error that can happen. But I also feel good about the fact that they caught it so early that the vaccines hadn't even been put into vials. So I don't want people to worry if they're registered for a Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because none of these bad vaccines made it out into circulation, and there's nothing for us to worry about there.
I feel good just listening to Doc, right?
Me too.
Doc, we have some questions about the holiday upcoming weekend here. So can we gather with friends and family on Easter? What about church? That's from Mary.
Yeah, good question, Mary. So if you're fully vaccinated, the good news is this year, unlike last year, we have this vaccine to help us out. Yes, you can gather, you can hug, you can share food, you can have events indoors or outdoors. Yeah, isn't it exciting?
Yes.
Yeah. If you're only partially vaccinated, though, which is a lot of us right now, or if you have unvaccinated people in the mix, like kids. So, you know, all you guys have kids, so if your kids obviously aren't vaccinated yet, you have to be a little bit more careful. So I would say try to do events outdoors, keep your guard up, keep the distance. And Jeff had asked about church. So yeah, certainly, Jeff, the CDC says not to go to medium or large size gatherings, but my personal take is that I think you can do it safely as long as you wear your masks. Don't sing or shout when you're in church. So Jeff, you're gonna have to do all your singing in the shower this year.
Not a problem, not a problem.
All right, and I was going to say this before I even get to my question, Jeff, because your question made me think about it. I've seen so many clickbait type, stories on the internet about COVID. Like I saw one the other day saying 100 people that got fully vaccinated have now come down with coronavirus, and then you click on it, and then they said that's completely normal out of 10 million people or something. So you click and you go 100 people, but that's not a big deal in terms of like efficacy.
If you give 20 million people aspirin, one of them is going to have a reaction to it.
So then, like, the headline would be like, "Man dies from aspirin." You'd be like, "What?" Yeah. So yes, watch out for those. All right. Our last viewer question comes from John. He says, what if I had the coronavirus and recovered but have not gotten the vaccine? Could I be considered immune and safe to see my peoples this weekend?
Interesting question. A lot of us have friends that have gotten the vaccine, gotten the virus and recovered. So it all depends on when you got it. So if you've had coronavirus within the last 3 months, the data tells us you probably still have antibodies around for about those first 3 months. But if it's been longer than 3 months, there's a good possibility that they might be gone. And the rate at which they go away depends on how sick you got. So if you weren't very sick to begin with, they go away a lot faster. So I would say to your friend that if it's been longer than 3 months, you treat him like an unvaccinated person and keep your guard up around him.
And Dr. Kohli, when you are fully vaccinated, can you still be a carrier of COVID or no?
So great news there too, Sam. We're learning, looking at swabs of people that are vaccinated, that the amount of virus that they're giving off in their secretions is substantially lower. So it's theoretically possible that you could still, get the virus or spread it, but the likelihood is so much lower because you're giving off a lot less of it. You're a lot less likely to catch it and give it off. So it's such exciting news.
Great news. That makes me feel so much more hopeful. Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli.